Market internals have been good this week, 4-1 advancing to declining stocks, Carl. And here we are. We're over 2,800, that elusive 2,800. We keep failing there. We'll see. You know, there's only one day this year we've been over 2,800. That was, March 1st? I think we closed at 2,803 on March 3rd. That's exactly where we are right now. So this is big-time resistance. We'll see if we can get over it. I'll show you a few ideas here. Internals are good. New highs are not terribly inspiring. Remember, we have these low bond yields and the low interest rates out there. So generally, interest rate-sensitive stocks are doing very well. We've got a new high list that's littered with REITs, real estate investment trusts like Avalon Bay and Equity Residential, utilities like AES, but not a lot more. We need a little more breakout here on the new high list outside of the interest rate-sensitive group. It's good to see some stabilization in the industrials. Thank you. Boeing is the only stock in the Dow that is down so far this week, down about 10%. But Caterpillar, UTX, which is a supplier to Boeing, all up. 3M is also up this week. So the damage really in the Dow, at least, is entirely Boeing. In terms of sectors, again, trend continuing with modest upside to semis, energy, healthcare, consumer discretionary. This has been the trend for the whole week. So a lot of these sectors are up 1 to 2% on the week, so that's nice to continue the trend. If you're trying to figure out, as I do, how do we get over 2,800, this elusive thing, there's a few short-term catalysts that are going to happen. First thing we're going to get is some very big China numbers, economic data overnight. They'll have industrial production and retail sales, and yes, that does matter to our markets now for obvious reasons because of the slowdown in the trade negotiation. Bunch of earnings out. There's some February ending companies that will have earnings, Adobe and Broadcom and Oracle. That'll be all tomorrow. They can move the markets. Friday, we have that quadruple witching. That's that quarterly expiration of index options and futures and individual stock options and futures. And then next week on Wednesday, we'll get the FOMC decision. Speaking of the quadruple witching, there hasn't been a tendency for it to be on the upside for the week of the quadruple witch. This is my old friend, Mr. Hirsch, Yale Hirsch, over at the Jeff Hirsch over at the Stock Traders Almanac. Since 1983, these weeks where 4 times a year we have the quadruple witching, been up 24, down 12 times. Interestingly, the following week tends to be slightly to the downside. So you tend to be flip this around, and you're generally down in the following week after that. You put that up there 26 times and only up 10 of the time. So there's good and bad associated with this. What's important is that we'll get a rebalancing in the S&P 500 on Friday. There's a lot of companies that are very heavily involved in buybacks. This is a big political issue right now. So we'll see some share count reductions from some very big companies because they've been very actively reducing their share count, including Broadcom and some of the banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup. We'll see their share count reduced. Pfizer's another big buyback monster, been doing that for a long time. And I'll give you some indications of how much the share count will be reduced tomorrow when we take a closer look at that. Right now, the Dow just off of the highs, up 90 points.